The works of Amy Sherald can be seen everywhere, from Chapel, North Carolina to Panama City, with a stop at the Smithsonian in the mix. Now she's in Baltimore, and she's at Baltimore's own Reginald F. Lewis Museum, and she joins us today along with the Lewis Museum's Director of Collections and Exhibitions, Michelle Wilkinson. Welcome, ladies.
Hi. Thank you.
I'm great. It's such a pleasure to have you both.
Thank you.
Michelle, we'll talk to you first just about what made you decide to bring Amy here and her works.
Well, Amy, I've been seeing her work for probably about 4 or 5 years now, and I've been quite impressed with her, and we've had many conversations about having her exhibition at the Lewis. So as you know, your viewers will get to see, she paints these really fantastical portraits. Many of her subjects are African American, but she has a really keen eye in terms of color and really telling a story. So even though you're just seeing a figure and it's a portrait, it's inspired by so many things, so you feel like you're getting a whole narrative in her images.
And Amy, when you heard from Michelle, what were your thoughts?
I was very excited. I've been in Baltimore for 10 years now, so it's really great for me to have an exhibition here and to show the Reginald is, you know, it's historical, you know, so I'm very happy to be in the museum.
Talk about what goes into your works. What inspires you?
I am inspired by people. I think I'm inspired by the human experience. Moving to Baltimore changed the direction of my work a lot. It kind of led me into this place of wanting to bring the imagination into the real. My studio was in Lexington Market, so every day I was walking to my studio and I would walk through, you know, these kind of islands of poverty, and I wanted to find a way to create a place of expression inside of that closed environment that I feel like people tend to, we've become adjusted to, and we kind of just move through it without even looking and experiencing it. So it was a reaction to that.
And what is it about Baltimore specifically that really inspires that type of work?
I think, you know, Amy's probably the better one to answer that question, but, you know, Baltimore, there's really so much here. We were actually having this conversation, you know, this morning, that it's a city that has, you know, keeps reinventing itself, just even historically. There's so much rich history, a lot of rich African-American history, but it's also a city that has had different epochs of rise and, you know, coming down from that kind of heyday. So this is really a right time, and I can see how an artist, you know, so many of the artists that we have encountered at the museum have been graduates of Maryland Institute College of Art, and I think it's wonderful to have such a gem in our city because artists are coming to go to school there, and then they're staying and they're bringing their stories with them. So for example, Amy's bringing stories from, you know, her past growing up in the South, but also thinking about that through the lens of this urban landscape.
Right. I mean,
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was affected because it made me want to become an activist, but I didn't come from a family that was involved in activism. We you know, grew up in a church, and we gave through that experience. So I think that it was important for me to find a way to interact with the community using my art, and I'm still trying to specifically figure that out, but you know, it's inspired me in a deeper way to kind of want to connect with deeper issues.
And so what are you hoping people get from your exhibit?
I always want people just to leave with this idea that they can imagine themselves out of a place where they think that they can't. So there's a line in the movie, I can't remember the name of the movie, but the guy said that depression is a place, is a state of mind where you can't imagine or construct your future. You know, so to lose that ability to imagine is to kind of lose the inspiration to live, and that's what I experienced every day when I walked through Lexington Market to my studio. It was just the lack of imagination, and I feel like it's important because it you know, we foster children and nurture children with this, and it's just important that I think within the community that we can find ways to bring art and culture into those spaces.
I love that. It's such a pleasure to be able to talk to the artists about what goes into their work, and you really described it beautifully. Now, on a personal note, I heard that you actually got a new heart.
I did get a new heart.
Not too long ago.
Yeah,
how are you
December.
doing?
I'm doing well. Yeah, it's been a rough year, but it had a happy ending. It's a blessing to have this heart. I only had to wait 2 months. There's 2,000 people on the list in Maryland right now, and 18 people added every day. There's 100,000 people waiting in the United States of America, so becoming an organ donor is very important. But I'm doing well. It's an indescribable experience. I can't put it to words.
Thank you so much for sharing that personal side of what's going on with you, and thanks for both of you for being here. I really appreciate it. Don't go away. You're watching 11 TV Home.